I think they turn it on up there. So if I stand up here for a minute, they'll eventually get it on. Hello? Maybe? Can you hear me? Okay. I can't hear myself because my ears are all plugged up, so just let me know if I either start screaming at you or if I get so quiet you can't hear me. So welcome, everyone. It's so good to see your smiling faces. There's plenty of seats in the middle and up front. For those of you streaming in, that's the tough thing about coming in at the end. You have to sit up front. But I am going to turn it over to our ever gracious hosts, the Denver Art Museum and Christina, to just tell us what's going on here.
All right. Hope this fall is off to a good start for all of you. We're always happy to have you here at the Dam. I have a lot of updates, so I think I'm going to dive right in. You may have heard in the news, we are about to undergo a major renovation of our north building. This project is really aiming to expand the museum's ability to serve the community, welcome guests to our cities, and continue a rich program of experiences with art, culture, and creativity. This means that the north building, so not the building that we're in, but our other building, will close as of November 19th. And then on November 20th, we're excited to announce that we're going to be open on Mondays. That means that a day that's been previously closed for the museum will be open to the public and school groups as of November 20th. And so we're really excited about this because we get to expand our offerings to, we've talked a lot about free for kids with this group, but this also means that our school groups are welcome to the museum on Mondays for free as well. And we are excited to also expand that to our special exhibitions, which usually incur a little additional cost. But the two special exhibitions that we have this school year, Her Paris and Degas, will both be free for school groups. So please make sure to pass on that word. In exhibition news, I believe I shared with you about Common Ground, photographs by Fazil Sheikh. Just wanted to let you know that this exhibition is going to be closing in mid-November, so make sure that you get a chance to see it, as well as Stampede is now officially open. With the North Building closing, we've really wanted to make sure that we're highlighting all the all the collections that we have in our permanent collections. And so this thematic exhibition really brings in cross-cultural, cross-collection objects that all display animals in art from across history and cultures. We also have a small exhibition, Ganesha, the Playful Protector, which includes this beautiful sculpture from Cambodia that has just recently opened, as well as this past weekend, the installation, immersive installation by local artist Jaime Molina is called Past and the Tangled Present. So that's immediately upstairs on the second floor. And then this weekend, we're going to be opening a special exhibition, Her Paris. And this is really looking at women artists working in Paris during the time of Impressionism and really defying the norms. So it's going to be a really incredible exhibit of all featuring all female artists. Again, this is going to be free for school groups, so we want to make sure that that message gets out. Then on to our programming. Oh, it looks like I've adopted your PowerPoint slides. I wanted to share with you that during break weeks, so whenever school's out, the Dam is in, and we want to welcome families to our spaces. So we will be open for actually the entire week of Thanksgiving, except for Thursday, as well as the 2 weeks that are around the winter holidays. During that time, we have all of our regular family programming, but we also have special programming during those stretches. We just opened our 3D studio, our hands-on studio upstairs, and during that time, as you can see in one of these images, there is also it's a play that's called Art Emergency that's really participatory and fun for families to then go explore the artworks that they've talked about during that play. And finally, I want to ask all of you if you know any colleagues that would be interested in being part of a teacher feedback session. We are going to be hosting a teacher feedback session next month. If you know of someone who might be interested or want to share this with someone who could further share it, please contact my colleague Sarah Hart. We're looking for a group, I think we're looking for about 15 teachers, all subject areas, all grade levels, to kind of help us build out programming, especially in thinking towards reopening our North Building in the future. So thanks so much.
Thank you so much. It's always so great. Every time we come here, I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to get here. So I'm going to make a commitment. I am going to, between now and the next all staff meeting, I'm going to come here. So Jane, hold me to it. You got to schedule it. Okay, well, let's see here. We are going to move forward. So I just wanted to start out just by kind of acknowledging what at least I've been feeling. I don't know if any of you all have been feeling this, but there's just been a lot of tough stuff recently in our whole world, really, between earthquakes in Mexico and, multiple hurricanes and the situation in Puerto Rico and the situation in California with the fires. Just that stuff alone is just enough to kind of tap your resiliency a little bit and just make things a little more stressful. And dealing with the stress we already deal with, you kind of have that underlying. And so I know I've been working through a little bit of that, so I thought I would just at least put it out there and just say that this is kind of the approach I'm using, the Lee Iacocca approach, which is just, being really focused on putting our energy into something positive and being focused on what we can impact and what we can do. And, you've heard me talk about this before, just, the biggest thing we can do is transform the moment we're in and be kind to the people we're with and to have, empathy for the people we work with. And I think that goes a long way. So just kind of wanted to start things off by saying that. And so we've tried to create a whole all staff that's kind of positive focused, positive, looking forward, to give us all hopefully a little bit more of that energy. So to start off with some of that positivity, I know that we did not send you a agenda. That is because I was late in doing so. So, so this is our agenda today. So surprise! And I'm going to start off with a really positive story. I want to thank Laura and Tomas Mejia. They organized an amazing bi-national initiative and international exchange with Mexico, and myself and Colleen and Laura and Tomas were very honored to be able to go to Mexico and learn a little bit about their education system. And they did an amazing job organizing this, all the details. It was quite the process. We had several of our superintendents come with us, and then several of our migrant education leaders that are throughout the state come with us, and it was really an amazing time. And so I just wanted to mention that we have this bi-national initiative here at CDE, and it was developed to enable migrant students that come from Mexico who arrive in the United States to have the same free and appropriate public school education that's provided to other children. And I learned so much about the initiative. I learned so much about our migrant specialists that are out in the community supporting both districts and also the students to make them feel welcome and make sure that they're not skipping a beat as they come to this country. So this is our team that got to go. And so you see Chris Vance, some of our friends over here know Chris because he used to work with us. So it was super great now that he's the superintendent and center. He has a very large population of migrant students, and so he was able to come. And then Don Rangel is there, our superintendent from Weld, and he came as well. And then a lot of our other migrant specialists are around the table, and then as well as our delegation, our partners from Mexico were kind of around me there at the back. So this was the team that went. We got to see a lot of schools, and it was absolutely fabulous. So the 4 components of this initiative is to support to ensure supportive transfers of students as they either come to this country or as they go back to their other country, to Mexico, to make sure that when they go back to Mexico, they're not skipping a beat there either. And then to ensure that cultural and educational resources are there for those students, no matter what. Dissemination of information between our countries, making sure that that's all there. And then we also are doing a bi-national teacher exchange. And this is why we asked Colleen to come as well, because this is something we're interested in looking at expanding, because we know that increasing diversity in our teacher ranks and increasing bilingual teachers is very supportive to our students. So this was something that we were exploring as we were there. And then that's Chris, and a little kiddo who told us all about Claude Monet, and he's 4 years old. So it was quite impressive. We're like, whoa. So yes, it was very impressive. And then there is Colleen with the Buzz. We made sure that we took Buzz on Buzz's first international trip. And this is a little preschool. Everywhere we went, they did dances and welcomed us with open arms. And it was just fabulous. So just wanted to share a little bit about that experience and thank Laura and Tomas for all the great work they do, and their team for all the great work they do. Okay, so now, on to maybe something not as awesome. Just reminders, legislative session, just as a little, funny thing, I asked Katie Lanaha and Melissa Bloom at some point to just, how many laws do we actually have to implement? I just want to, I want it as a talking point, to tell legislators and stuff, we do X number of laws or something. And they were like, that's actually a really complicated question because of the state laws, the federal laws, the rules. Then some laws are one law, but they break into 5 laws. And so instead we just did it by number of pages. And that was over 900 pages of laws. So we'll probably get some more pages to implement here soon. But I just want to give the standard reminders of it's really important to loop your exec team member and our legislative liaison in to any time a legislator contacts you. And just say, it's Jennifer Mello, and then whoever your exec team is, just send a quick email saying so-and-so contacted me, here are the questions. Because we really, Jennifer is our eyes and ears over at the Capitol, and we really don't want her to be surprised. And it really helps her to navigate and coordinate the different information that those folks need. And it also makes sure that we're giving consistent information over there, because we want to make sure if a question, for example, cross-cuts multiple units, then we would want to make sure we get all of that information from the units and give that legislator a clear picture so that they don't move forward on something without all of the information. So that's just a friendly reminder. Believe it or not, bills are already starting to be written, so legislators are already starting to contact staff. And then also just a friendly reminder that we are really the neutral parties in this, okay? That is really our role as a state agency. We don't give our opinions on it. We provide facts and information. But really, it's the State Board of Education that takes positions on bills. And so we don't have a position on any bill unless the state board took an official vote on that. So just want to be careful with our language. You know, when we're talking to legislators, you know, you wouldn't say, well, CDE thinks this, or, you know, you can give the factual information, but really it's our state board that provides whether they support, oppose, or for the most part, even our state board just monitors the bills. So that's just a refresher there. It did come up at our last board meeting, so I just wanted to be sure that was a refresher. And then we are also in election season. So I know many of you already know that heightens, it just heightens everything, really. It just heightens all the politics around everything. So you might even get more calls from legislators or folks that are running for governor or running for a different seat. And again, we need to be careful there. We need to give the same information to all candidates, be completely sort of unbiased and transparent there. And also, I know this is kind of a careful thing, but just use judgment. You guys are, for better or for worse, CDE, I hope for better, employees and state employees. And so be a little extra cautious if you can. It's just a personal sort of ask from me with elections and everything. You are absolutely on your own personal time able and willing to support any candidate you want, but just be careful. Like if you happen to use your Facebook page for things like work, but then you're also using your Facebook page for personal, sometimes those things can get muddled. So you need to be pretty careful that if you're doing anything political, that's not on state computers, it's not on state phones, it's not on your state time. Everything sort of needs to be separated, and we have so many people running for office that they're watching these things. So just use your judgment and just remember that you wear multiple hats sometimes. So now look at our Buzz. He's all dressed up for Halloween. So thank you to Acacia and the communications team for all of these tools. This is just another friendly reminder. Thank you to Jeremy for sending out our updates at the end of the week, just giving you a teaser to go on to the Buzz and look at things. But people are really using it, and there's some good stuff on there. So I encourage you to use it. And I encourage you to use the roster too. I have gone to the roster several times, just wanting to refresh my memory on someone's name or something like that. And so I would love to have really good participation in that. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Darcy to give us a little overview on the Family and School Partnership Month.
Is this on? Can you turn this on in the back? Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, she did. Sorry, I always have to wander. There we go. Can people hear me okay? All right. And let me make sure I have the right button. Yes, we're good. So I think the staff has probably turned over by about 50% since the last time I presented, give or take, 2.5 years ago. So I'm thrilled to be able to present today about family and school community partnering. And you can see I have my props. I have my Ask Me About FSCP tote bag and button as part of our Creating Awareness campaign to help people know what FSCP is. And it stands for Family School Community Partnering. And the reason that I'm presenting today at this staff meeting is because for the 6th year in a row, October is proclaimed to be Family and School Partnership and Education Month. And it's really a great opportunity to highlight the good things that are going on around family school community partnering, to hopefully dispel some misconceptions about family school community partnering, and to really help focus on what are those high impact strategies of how family, schools, and the community can work together to improve student achievement. So this is just a summary. Thanks to Kim Watchorn. Kim, are you here? If you're here, can you stand? Sorry, she didn't know I was going to do that. So thank you, Kim. Kim put together this. She actually tweeted it out, and so I stole it for the slides. But if you get permission, I guess it isn't completely stealing. So we had a kickoff last week for Family and School Partnership and Education Month, and we displayed promising partnership practices that we collect every year, and we had some speakers, and it was just a very celebratory time for partnerships. So thank you to Noemi. Are you here by chance? And if you're here, can you stand? I don't know if she's here. Okay, in the back. So Noemi is actually the mastermind behind our Ask Me About FSCP slogan that we started, I think it was last year. And again, it's really to create awareness. And actually, quick story, when I was walking home yesterday, I had stuff in my bag, and I stopped at the Whole Food in Cap Hill on 11th and Emerson, and somebody actually stopped me to say, hey, can you tell me about what FSCP is? And I didn't really know what to say because nobody's ever stopped to ask me that. So it took me, like a couple of seconds to compose myself, and then I got really excited. So I was jotting down some words that come to mind when I think about what FSCP is. And let me just say what it isn't as well. So oftentimes there's a misconception that it just happens by itself, that parents just get involved and partner with schools. There's a misconception that, hey, we're a small town, we run into parents all the time in the grocery store, so doesn't that count as parent involvement? Well, maybe in a way. Or that it's fluff. That's probably one of my biggest pet peeves, is when people think, oh, it's just fluff. So instead, we're trying to help people understand that FSCP is linked to student learning, that it's inclusive. Lulu Buck, if Lulu's here, raise your hand. I don't know if she's here today, but she's the one who said, we really need to move beyond compliance to really focus on commitment. So it's committed, beyond random acts, research-based, measurable, sustainable. One of my favorite slogans is to be realistically optimistic. So to recognize your starting points and don't use challenges as an excuse, but be realistic in what you can actually do to move the needle. So this is all part of our Creating Awareness campaign for FSCP. So in 2009, in Senate Bill 0990, it said that the state needs to align its work with the national standards for family school partnerships. And those are the standards that are listed there on the slide. And it's really just a way to think through how schools and districts can reach out to work with families in the community. And then it's important to share leadership, to action plans, so to include family partnership initiatives on the Unified Improvement Plan, and then to evaluate. So this is a message that we help share with the field so that people are all on the same page in terms of what does FSCP actually mean. Because it's such a huge topic, sometimes there's also the misconception of, the state really has two roles, the way I see it. So it's to help build the capacity in schools and districts to be able to work with families, but then also to help gather that parent voice. And I know that happened a lot on the listening tours for the ESSA plan, and it seems like it's happening more and more, and it's definitely a topic of interest for a lot of people to really build that parent voice. So these are some of the resources that we have in place, and we have them in both hard copies and available on the CDE website. My side tab is on the UIP page because my position is housed in improvement planning. So we have the 2017 Promising Partnership Practice Book, and these practices are aligned with those national standards for family school partnerships. This is the third year that we have collected promising practices, and so now we have about 150 to share. We also have the TIPS. TIPS stands for Teachers Involved Parents in Schoolwork, Interactive Homework, and there were several offices, 5 or 6 offices within CDE that partnered to get this initiative in place. And it's basically homework assignments for K-3 literacy that has an element of partnership. So it's still the student's responsibility to do the homework, but then there's room for a parent partner to participate as well. So we also have a couple of brochures, 3 brochures, so a few brochures. We have SACPI, the State Advisory Council for Parent Involvement in Education, that helps support this initiative. We have the wonderful FSCP Key, so this is our new non-newsletter. It's a communication. I'm not calling it a newsletter. That goes out to my district contacts. And thank you so much again to Acacia for helping with the layout. I've gotten so many compliments about how much they love the layout of the key, so thank you. And then this symbol here represents a newish, it's been around for about 2.5 years, group of district leaders called my Coffee Chatters. So the 3rd Friday of every month we have FSCP Coffee Chats, where they rotate and different districts host to share what they are doing around family partnerships, and then to give the other district staff members an opportunity to ask questions and troubleshoot through challenges. And this group, they like meeting so much that they actually choose to meet even when we don't have a coffee chat scheduled. So I take that as a sign of a successful group. And finally, so just in closing, how can you, in your role as CDE staff members, help support family school community partnering throughout the year, beyond just October? And part of it, I would say, selfishly, is to know that I exist and that I'm here as a resource to help. And it's actually, Colorado is, I'll be safe and say one of the, even though I think we're the only one, that has, it's either somebody or and candy. This is not Coors Field, it's our museum, so please make sure that there's not candy wrappers on the floor when you leave. So Jane, hopefully that helps. But anyway, so we invite you, it's an open group, and these are the offices that are currently represented. We invite you to come and join the group and to talk about family school community partnering with us. It is the best place to be from 1:30 to 3:30 on the 4th Wednesday of every month. I'm just saying, I'm just throwing that out there. And you can see on the invitation some quotes that people put together. So quick funny story before I turn, quick story before I turn it back over to Katie. But I'm a huge baseball fan, and I get super nervous during the playoffs, especially when both of my teams are in contention, the Yankees and the Cubs. Judge me if you want. But so I get really nervous, and instead of eating my feelings, I decided to put together the invitations for you and have you eat my feelings through the candy. So that's the story behind the candy and the invitations. So we are so grateful for the people in this group. If you're a part of the FSCP COP, can you please stand up just so that we can recognize you and all of the support that you give us? So thank you. I know there's also some people online watching this who are part of the group, but they are incredibly supportive, and I told Katie before the staff meeting started, I said, you know, for somebody who officially doesn't really have a team, because I'm sort of a team of one, I said, I sure do have the best team, and it's so supportive, so I'm very appreciative of that. So again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out and get in touch and share these promising practices with people, and thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Okay, so now, oh, you already forwarded it. Okay. Progress on our strategic plan. So thank you, everyone, for all of your work on our strategic plan since the last quarter. We have been doing lots of different subgroup work, and we've had open mics with the commissioner, and we've done online feedback and all sorts of things. And so our teams have been combing through all of that, and we're getting, I don't know, we'll give it 90% there. I don't know, it depends on who you talk to. And so just wanted to give you guys an update on where we are with this. So as you might remember, we have our goals, and then we have our key initiatives that really drive towards those goals. And then we have those supporting strategic activities that are within the key initiatives. We have some metrics, and we're also going to just give a shout out to our subcommittee. We have a joint committee group who is taking all of that information and putting it together in one place. So that's what we're going to go through today, and just kind of show you where we're at. So first is our goals. And I have to, again, give a shout out to Acacia for our wonderful graphics here. So this is kind of where we're at right now. So we've done a lot of back and forth. We've taken a lot of the feedback. I will say we've gotten a lot of feedback, so not every single piece of feedback was able to be taken because there's, lots of different types of feedback. And so this is sort of where we've landed. And for a number of reasons, but so you remember that our first goal was around reading by third grade. We've changed it slightly to be this. 50% fewer students will struggle to read by the end of third grade. And that's mainly because that's the metric we have that we're able to measure. So in terms of our READ Act and what that measures, this is an indicator of making sure that all students are reading by third grade, and that we're getting better on that trajectory. So that's kind of where we have that right now. Then we've got 80% of our low-performing schools will improve and maintain their improvement. So this is around ensuring that we're consistently moving schools and districts off of the accountability clock and consistently moving their performance up. And remember, these goals are supposed to be stretch goals, but attainable. So obviously we would like that to be at 100%. Obviously, we would like all these goals to be even higher, but in terms of being realistic for us to shoot towards progress within a 5-year time span, this is where we've landed. And then 66% of students in the class of 2021 will earn a post-secondary credential, certificate, degree, or diploma. So this is actually really aligning. This one we went back and forth on a lot, got a lot of different feedback on. This was at first a graduation rate only metric. We actually decided to stretch a little further and say we want to make sure we're going beyond, we're preparing students beyond high school, and obviously the graduation metric will feed into this metric. But the other benefit of this metric is that it aligns with our higher education partners. So our higher education partners just released their strategic plan, and this is a goal that they have as well. So this actually kind of ties us together nicely, and we have several joint initiatives with them that we want to create a seamless system of education for our students. So it's not just about the high school diploma, it's about making sure that students are ready no matter where they go. I also just want to say that the choice of words there is purposeful, because it's not just like we're using certificate, degrees, and diplomas. So that could include, the high school diploma. It could include certificates for workforce readiness. So talking about all of those different pathways that one of our key initiatives focus on. So making sure that students are career and college ready, and they can show that through a number of pathways. And then our last goal here is 20% more historically underserved students will achieve academic expectations. And so this, once we disaggregate this into our benchmarks, then we would be really specific about which, we got a lot of feedback that we need to spell out which historically underserved students we're talking about here. So we are spelling that out within our benchmarks and our sub-metrics, but this is just sort of that high level. So this is really about closing the achievement gap and closing the opportunity gap. So we talk about closing the opportunity gap first for those students that maybe are high poverty, so that then we can close the achievement gap. So those are kind of where we've landed right now. We will post this PowerPoint, and we'll post all of this updated material on the section on the Buzz that we've been hosting all of the strategic plan work, so that if you have feedback, you can continue to do that and continue to share that with us. So the 5 key initiatives that we're talking about to really support that work, but really support all the work. So let me just say that, again, if we go back to sort of, what the purpose of our strategic plan is, or our performance plan, it doesn't mean it captures every single thing we do, right? It's how do we have some key goals that really everyone's working toward, to be able to share our progress with the legislature, share our progress with the public. And so this is the same with our key initiatives. These are the key initiatives that we're going to report out on to our legislature, similar to districts' unified improvement plans. That doesn't mean that that's everything that a district or a school does, but it's some of those key elements that we're really focused on that we think will move the needle on some of these goals. And really, everyone, I think, should be able to see themselves in supporting the key initiatives and ultimately getting to our goals. Even if you're in operations, school finance, anything like that, you are supporting internal customers to then support the districts in reaching those goals. So this first one is strong foundations, and this is really aligned really to all of the goals. Actually, all of these are aligned to all of these goals. So this is supporting high quality early learning and literacy for all students. And so we have a cross-unit team that's looking at that work and articulating what those key strategies are. Obviously, the READ Act, obviously our early learning and readiness work is deeply aligned in these strategies, but also the work of our turnaround and low-performing schools work is aligned to this too, because we know that when we're supporting those districts, we need to ensure that they are focusing on that early literacy aspect of school improvement. More options. So this is expanding high school options to ensure all our students are ready for college and a living wage job. And so this is around all of those options that we're starting to talk about to make sure that students have multiple pathways, personalized learning, all sorts of options. Really, we've said high school here, but really this is, throughout the education system. But can we expand concurrent enrollment? Can we expand AP options? Can we expand, some of the early college work that we're doing so that students are leaving high school with either progress towards a credential or in some cases a credential. So this is expanding those options and really focusing on that and increasing district capacity to do so. And all means all. And this is, this is a real strong focus on equity that I've talked to you all about before. So this is ensuring that we expand opportunity and access for our historically underserved students. So how can we do that, and what's our unique leverage there? And I will say this is the one that we're still grappling with the most, because a lot of you do this work on a regular basis because you focus on this in the subject areas that you're working on, but I'm actually interested in expanding that a little bit to potentially do some pilots with some districts that may be willing to dive into this a little bit deeper and to look at some cross-sector partnerships, because I do believe that the education system can't do it alone. And so how can we use our sort of convening power and our statewide leverage power power to pull in city municipalities, other nonprofits, other governmental agencies on healthcare, human services, housing, all of those things that impact our students and that can sometimes create those environments for making them historically underserved. How can we look at how we could pull those together in a slightly different way? That wouldn't be like a statewide initiative right off the bat, but could we do a pilot where we learn something and then think about how we could expand those practices statewide? Okay, and then quality schools. This is ensuring, this is really focusing all of our work on improving all of our schools. So making sure that we reach that 80% target of getting any of our schools on the lowest two performance levels up into the performance levels. We all have an impact on that. We all have an ability to do that, whether you're working directly with educators to improve their practice, whether you're working to increase assessment literacy to understand how to use assessment data more effectively, whether you're serving internal CDE customers to make sure that they can do those things. I think we all have a role to play. This includes all of our work on the turnaround network and all of our low-performing systems work, our unified improvement planning work, where we're really connecting with districts and helping them develop capacity and strategies, and sometimes providing them resources, to really get to that next level. And then educators matter. So we all know this, that the strongest predictors of student achievement are the teacher and then next the principal. We know that if we don't have strong principals, I'm looking at my ed effectiveness team over there, if we don't have strong principals, we often lose the best teachers. So we know that we have to focus on improving support and capacity and knowledge for principals as well, so that they can support and develop the teachers in our classrooms. And so this is still a strong focus of ours, and it will continue to be a strong focus, especially as we talk about the teacher shortage issues and the educator shortage issues. We want to make sure that we're sending a message that education, going into education, is the best possible career you could ever do, and that we want to back that up with supports and professional, what's that word I'm looking for? You know what I'm talking about. I'm not, believe it or not, I'm not on NyQuil anymore. I was a couple days ago, and Jane was calling me. She's like, I'm usually like at work nonstop, right at like 6:30, 6:45, and I didn't come in, and I had taken NyQuil that night just to try to get some sleep. And boy, that stuff really knocks you out. So anyway. Okay, moving on. So those are our 5 key initiatives that we've really landed on. You may notice that we had one in here prior that was around implementing effectively legislation, because that is a huge part of what we do. So that has not gone away, but where that's gone is into our organizational excellence section. So this is sort of the outward-facing, like, what is our goal as a department to help students and to help the education system? We have a whole other section of the plan that's on organizational excellence, which is around what is our internal processes and supports, and how do we improve our internal processes and supports to make sure that we're doing all of these jobs really well and effectively, and we're making the best use of resources and taxpayer dollars. So within our organizational excellence, and we'll share that out at some point soon too. We have some metrics around, supporting data quality. So our IMS team reflected there, making sure that our finance systems and our operation systems are working really well and efficiently. And then this is where we will put our implementing legislation effectively. And so we will be reporting out on those. We're still building that part out a little bit. So that's essentially where we are. Like I said, after this meeting, we'll post these materials. A lot of this has been posted through the iterations. The subcommittees that are working on each of these core initiatives have been posting their materials on the Buzz. So if you want to dig deeper into more of the detail, you can do that. If you want to know and get involved in these different key initiatives, then you can find that out on the Buzz and find out who you can contact for that. And you can see the development of the organizational excellence as we get that done. So let me thank our Fearless Committee members. And this is sort of that cross-unit set of folks who have come from each of those different key initiatives, and they've kind of been our conduits for what the committees are doing, to what the larger group is doing, and how we're refining this. So just shout out to all of them. Thank you. If we missed you, I'm very sorry. But thank you for all your work, and thanks for everyone for participating, and no matter which way you did so. All right, so our next steps. We're going to do any final refinements on content, and I will say, as I've said before, this will be a living, breathing document. So it's never a final. We'll always be open to feedback and comments, and we'll kind of try it out and see how it goes and look at our metrics and see if we got it right. But we do need to have something to turn into the Office of State Planning and Budget, OSPB, by November 1st. So really, that's coming up quickly. So this is why when I said we're 90% done, the communications team is probably like, we're like 10% done. So they're taking all of this information and they're sort of writing the narrative, putting some of the text behind it, polishing up the graphics. And this will be sort of the first draft that we present to the SMART Act hearing, which is a committee of legislators that we'll be presenting this to. We'll probably get some feedback from them too, and we can incorporate that into the next version as well. So we'll also be sharing it with the state board. I did share the early drafts with the state board, so they're aware of these pathways and they're supportive of that. So we'll just share the kind of final version when we have that with them. And then these last two things are sort of determining our communication strategy and our implementation strategy. So a lot of this is already being implemented, right? So there's not going to be like major shifts there. But if we want to actually leverage the cross-unit, collaboration and making sure we're really doing the best we can to focus on these key initiatives, we probably are going to have a strategy where those key initiative teams continue to meet and continue to make sure that the strategies are aligned, continue to refine, and improve as we go. So I don't quite know what all that looks like, but there will be opportunities, and we'll figure out ways to say, if there's a key initiative that you really want to be engaged in, there's still going to be opportunities because the implementation of it is yet to come. So that will still be coming. We're kind of getting it down right now, and getting any last refinements, and then we'll figure out that process next. So, what would success look like? And we have some examples of this, but how would this look all coming together? So I wanted to share this.
It's amazing what a small group of dedicated people can do.
There is this sense of pride in the school district, a sense of pride in the community, and that we want to show everybody what Rocky Ford is about. Rocky Ford School District is located in the southeastern corner of the state. It's a farming community.
The district was struggling with student achievement, also with anything from finances to just the lack of growth in the community.
The district was automatically, in that first year, put on priority improvement. It's our teachers that know our students. They're the experts. And once they started to feel like experts, then we saw the differences. And that's why in 2014 we saw that the school district came off of that watch list for the state.
And the most important thing in the classroom is the connection that the teachers make with the kids. So in my book, that's success in the classroom.
I think with the turnaround, it brought us closer. It brought the community closer too. We all had a common vision, and we knew we all had to work together.
Really two big phases happened. One was a school improvement grant, and we received that from the department, and with that funding we partnered with the Flippin Group.
I'll tell you, when we first started this process, there were the naysayers that said, oh, it's just going to come and go, right? But we still implement those initiatives that we incorporated with our professional development through the Flippin Group.
Then we transitioned to working with the University of Virginia Turnaround Leadership Program, and we were able to do that because of some financial support from the Colorado Department of Education. One thing that they were worried about was motivation on the assessments themselves. So it was an assistant principal at the time who came forward with an idea about why don't we switch the summer school to a Jumpstart program at the beginning of the school year instead. What we'll do is we'll just give a reward. So students that showed that they were proficient on those assessments, we'll excuse them from that 2-week period of remediation. Everybody else we'll bring in and we'll do some nice focused targeted instruction. We'll base it off of the needs that we see from the assessments, and we'll get this jump start. And that paid off. It was huge, the results that we saw with the increases in achievement.
Next is to probably become one of the better school districts in the state of Colorado and stay above the bar and continue to work hard and make the achievement there that we need.
We believe that every single one of our students will graduate, they'll be productive citizens, and they'll be college, career, or military ready. When we talk about what we want here, 100% graduation rate.
So, see, I told you we're going to do awesome stuff today. Isn't that uplifting? So these, just as a plug for this, we are doing these promising practices, and they're up on our websites where we're trying to share positive stories of what's happening. It's, and really encourage that and support and reward that awesome work that our districts are doing. But you heard in that video basically everything that's related to our strategic plan, right? Supporting teachers, supporting principals, school improvement grants, the professional development that we give at all levels of the system, the networks that we provide, the brokering of services that we provide when districts identify things that they need, providing support on summer school and materials there, increasing our graduation rate, making sure that folks are college and career ready. So all of that video really sort of shows how it all comes together for a district and how all of the things you all are doing contributes to it coming together in a district for improvement. So that is very cool. All right, so I, again, in the spirit of having this all be positive, given the stresses in our world, wanted to give some kudos to everyone. And who, I mean, come on. This is what I do when you really need it. Just get fuzzy puppies and kittens. And then if you get fuzzy puppies and kittens So just a couple shout outs, and I know I could shout out to every single one of you, so please, share with me your kudos. I love hearing about kudos because most of the time I'm not getting kudos. I'm getting more stressful problems to solve, so please share with me your unit successes, but I've got a couple I want to just shout out. The school finance team, I'm getting a lot of kudos from our superintendents and folks saying, hey, I've called this team and they're so responsive, they're so helpful, they're patient with me, they help me work through all of these issues, the October count, all of these things. And I know the school finance team has also been out to districts doing trainings. We've heard really good feedback on that, so thank you. The nutrition office received an excellent national evaluation, federal evaluation. We got many commendations for our nutrition team with how effective, we're one of the top states in the nation on how effective we are at implementing our school nutrition plans and processes for our districts, so thank you to the nutrition team. Our ESSA team, you thought we would never mention them again, but they continue to have to work because we haven't quite gotten that approval yet, and so our ESSA team has continued to present before the state board, continued to host stakeholder meetings to figure out how we're going to solve some of the stickier issues that we got feedback on from the federal government, so kudos to them. Denise and Busy, the state board office, we don't often call them out, but we should because they do a ton of work every month for that state board meeting. And this last month especially, the board meeting was out in Burlington, so that creates a whole new set. And Mikey, I need to call you out too for that. Whole new set of logistics to make sure that we're moving everything to another location. Is there Wi-Fi? Is there projectors? How do the microphones work? Where does the media go? All of that stuff. And so Busy and Denise and Mikey and the team that works on the state board, just thank you so much. Katie, Melissa Bloom, Dana, Acacia on the strategic plan and performance plan. They've been pulling a lot together. They've been pulling the teams together. They've been gently pestering when needed to get information in. Thank you so much. The standards team just did a huge heavy lift. They worked all weekend to get all of the feedback from all of the committees, the 10 sub-content committees into our online system so that now the public can give feedback onto those potential changes. And they worked really, really hard to meet that October, I believe it was the 17th deadline, and is today the 17th? Yes, so they did it. Congrats. The assessment team, who are working really, really hard on ensuring that a transition on assessments is going smoothly. There is a ton of background and detail work to make that make that seamless. We're telling districts, which is all true, that they won't see a difference. It will be seamless. They won't notice the difference. But in order for districts to not notice the difference, it means that there is a ton of work going on behind the scenes to make sure that the districts don't see any disruption. So thanks to them. Jane, as always, I never get a chance to thank you publicly, so I'm just doing it now. Thank you for calling me when I sleep in on NyQuil, making sure I come to work, all of that stuff, very important. And Denise and Adam for supporting our team when, just as the front line for phone calls coming in to CDE, that frontline person is so important, and Jane, Denise, and Adam, and many of you all do that, but that first customer service interaction is just so critical. So I know I could stand up here and call every single one of you out. Please send me your kudos so that I know some of these awesome things that are happening. But you guys, I just can't say enough how proud I am to work for you and work with you every day. I just can't say enough how great you guys are. So this is just another, like I said, I'm just peppering you with positivity. So, and this also, related, this and the other quote that I shared, in terms of what I talked about in terms of the national scene going on, I did just pull together a bunch of resources. Sometimes if you feel a little paralyzed or like you can't contribute or you can't, have effect on the broader things that are going on, I did pull a few things together. And so when we share this PowerPoint out, you can click there if it's kind of just all pulled together for, the Vegas tragedy, all of the hurricane issues. We know Puerto Rico is still really suffering. I always am reminded during terrible tragedies that everybody rushes to give blood during the tragedy, but actually that's something we need to do on a regular basis, so that's always a good way to give back to the community. And then with the terrible fires, there's a Napa Valley Community Disaster Relief Fund who's kind of, getting resources out where they're most needed. So, and the last positive thing, this is just a highlight of things to come. Jane and I talked about last year really doing something CDE-wide during the holidays. And I know many of your units do individual things for the holidays and community give back, but we're also going to do a CDE-wide angel tree if you want to participate. And so Jane has been working with the Salvation Army to get 150 tags of young kids and teenage kids that just need a little extra love and support during the holidays. And so I believe those tags will have just like suggested gifts for kids that may not have access to that. So be looking for that. We'll have an angel tree in the lobby and 150 tags. And I know we can do 150 tags. And if we do that, no problem this year, then we'll ask for more tags next year. So thanks to Jane for organizing that. So with that, I'm going to ask Sue to come up, and we're going to do our service awards. We've got a lot of service awards. And so this is exciting. And I will say, I'm just going to tell you this now while I have the microphone. So we have a couple 25 and 30 year award winners, and I've told you before, as I've stood up here, like giving the pin to the 25 and 30 year award winners, I'm like, I really feel like you deserve more than a pin. And so I was talking to Dana and Sue yesterday, and Dana's like, yeah, you should give them a car. And I'm like, okay, well, I can't really give them a car, well, like a refrigerator or something. They should get like something really big. And I'm like, yes, they should. And maybe I'll stop by the florist and get some flowers. So I did that, and those flowers are sitting in my sink in a nice thing, keeping them nice and fresh for tomorrow, maybe when I come find you. All right, so our service awards, and here's our 5-year, and Sue, our new HR director, if you haven't met her, say hello, and she's going to help us read off all of our amazing services.
Hi, hello. I know I've met a lot of you, but there's certainly a lot of you I have not met, so hello. Very nice to be here today, especially for such a positive occasion. So we're going to start with the 5-year awards. And again, if at any time you can't hear me, let me know. I feel like I'm really bending forward. So I think as we kind of just read off names, if you could just please come up on the stage, and each one of the cabinet members was actually give us a little bit of information. So the first one is Jocelyn Robich, and I apologize in advance if I don't say your name correctly. So Jocelyn has been supporting students and educators across the state of Colorado through various state roles during the past 5 years. First joining the Charter School Institute in November of 2011, and then joining the Educator Effectiveness Team in 2013 to manage the development of educator evaluation online tools. Now rejoining the Educator Effectiveness Team in a new position, Jocelyn continues to provide the highest levels of support to districts, BOCES, charters on all things evaluation related. The Educator Talent Unit is beyond thrilled to have Jocelyn's expertise, drive, and passion as a part of our everyday efforts. And if we could have all the folks on the list here just come up to the podium, that would be great. Yeah, just so we have everyone come up, and then we'll right. So Amanda, Mercer, Tricia, Misty, Renee, Kim, so everyone on that page, Jane, Doherty, Sherry Wheeler, Lindsay Heitman, and I think Lindsay Jackal is out sick, but we'll certainly say a few words about Lindsay, and then Lisa Stefan. I'm not sure who's in the office, or who's actually in here today, so. All right, so the next one on the list is Amanda Mercer. Amanda is a tremendous asset to the school nutrition team. She's devoted to program excellence and exceptional customer service. She's driven to ensure that all students across the state have equal access to healthy meals and snacks. Congrats, Amanda. The next one up is Tricia Walls. Do we have Tricia? Okay, perfect. Is a valuable member of the Dropout Prevention and Student Reengagement Unit. Over the past few years, her roles have expanded from administrative support to program and evaluation assistant. In her new role, she has contributed to making improvements in how we keep track of grant deadlines and fiscal reporting. Her skills as a mother of 5 have come in handy during her tenure at CDE. Those who know her are continually amazed by her ability to multitask and keep track of details that make the unit run smoothly. Congratulations, Tricia. And I think, is D, do we have D? D's not in today? Okay. So we just want to mention a few words about D. I know he's not here, but so D, in his role as the department's enterprise architect, D has earned a reputation as a problem solver and expert on getting things done with limited resources. He is an invaluable asset to the department and the entire education community. Over the years, his responsibility has increased, and he has become the person you go to when you need to know how things work in IT at CDE. Thank you, Dee. Do we have Misty? Misty is up at a conference. Okay, gotcha. All right. So we have Renee Martinez? Okay, perfect. Sorry. I should know this, right? I know. This is how we learn. So Renee is an invaluable member of the Schools of Choice team, where she oversees the Office of Blended and Online Learning. In these 5 years, Renee has become the go-to person in the office for connecting the work of blended and online learning with other key initiatives. Most notably, Renee is currently actively involved in the inter- and cross-departmental collaborations related to low graduation rates, open educational resources, and the state blended learning roadmap. We are so grateful to have Renee as a part of our team. Do we have Kim? Yeah. Okay, perfect. Kim is a multi-tiered system of support specialist within the Office of Learning Supports. She provides personnel development and technical assistance to the state in all areas related to MTSS. Kim regularly goes above and beyond to ensure customers receive the highest quality of support possible. Congratulations, Kim, and thanks for being such a rock star. Jane, do we have Jane? No Jane? Okay. All right. Jennifer, do we have Jennifer Morgan? No Jennifer? Okay. All right. Sherry Wheeler. Okay, Sherry. Okay. She's on. Hi, Sherry. Okay. Sherry is a multi-tiered system of supports implementation consultant within the Office of Learning Supports. With over 20 years of experience in education, Sherry is a great asset to the office and to district level leadership teams. Regardless of the duties assigned, Sherry maintains a terrific passion for improving outcomes for students in Colorado and brings an important and novel perspective to the efforts of the Office of Learning Supports. So Lindsay Heitman. Perfect. Hi, Lindsay. Lindsay has been the collection lead for the special education end-of-year collection since joining CDE in 2012. Recently, she has also challenged herself to learn both the special education December count and discipline collections. Lindsay also was instrumental in coordinating the first annual CDE Privacy Week celebration last January. Her colleagues appreciate her friendliness and high standard of work. Thank you, Lindsay.
So maybe read through them and then we'll.
Perfect.
round of applause for everyone.
Perfect. All right, so Jocelyn Robich.
We've already done that.
We've done that
I
one?
didn't read through the,
Oh, the ones aren't here.
the ones that aren't here, but.
Sorry, you could tell I'm new, so I'm the rookie. We're figuring it out. All right. So let's cover Misty, because we skipped right past Misty. So Misty has contributed to the department in so many ways, and just a point of note on Misty, actually right before this meeting today, we actually had some questions about Misty's, how long she'd actually been with the state. So she's actually been with the state for 18 years. But she's been with CDE for 5. So for those folks that know that, like, this is completely wrong, she's been here for a really super long time. So yes, we actually know that, but we just wanted to make sure that, yes, she's been with the state for quite some time, but with CDE for 5 years. But Misty has contributed to the department in so many ways as a past employee of the Department of Higher Ed and her dedicated work in increasing student pathways. She seamlessly makes connections between K through 12 and higher education systems. Misty is efficient, strategic, and always asks, what else can I do for you? Misty is efficient, strategic. Oh, okay, sorry. You're like, you just said that. I know. I tried to go too fast. In the political realm, she has to deal with some of our stickiest issues and does a great job with poise and confidence. Thank you, Misty. All right. And Jennifer? CDE was lucky enough to bring Jennifer Morgan back home after a brief stint in Aurora Public Schools and longer tenure at the Charter School Institute. She has a talent for streamlining complex processes and translating the planning process for districts and schools. Most of all, Jennifer keeps the UIP team cheerful and fun and stylish. Thank you, Jennifer. Okay. Did we have Lindsay? We didn't have Lindsay, right? Jane. Okay, Jane. Okay. I should have brought my pen. Oh, there's a pen right here. So Jane Doherty is our occupational therapy, physical therapy, adapted physical education specialist. She has been a champion for students with disabilities who benefit from the special education services. She brings humor, expertise, and a beautiful sparkle to the Access Learning and Literacy team and her other ESSU colleagues. So Lindsay, we need Lindsay, right? Lindsay Jackal brings many assets to her role of Director of School Turnaround Support. Lindsay was instrumental in designing and launching the Turnaround Network, which now serves 39 schools. She is a strategic thinker and seeks to maximize the role of the state agency to help improve schools. Lindsay is a perceptive and supportive supervisor to the Turnaround Support managers and an amazing colleague. We are fortunate to have Lindsay at CDE. And Lisa Steffen is that rare young person with an old soul. It is amazing to watch her skillfully anchor the team's wide-ranging activities in such a calm and competent manner. With a thirst for new challenges, her position has evolved from administrative assistant to project manager to field consultant. We also live vicariously through Lisa, as she is the best travel planner and takes trips around the world. Lucky Lisa. Thank you so much. I promise the tenure will go smoother. Okay. One more. All right, so this one's 3. We have Tanya Klein, Diane Barranco, and Judith Martinez. They here? Come on down. Okay, so we have Diane. That's Diane. Diane is the program assistant for the CDE Office of Learning Supports, serving as the office manager and event coordinator. She also provides fiscal, accounting, and budget monitoring for all of her projects. Diane is the oil that keeps the Office of Learning Supports machine running on all cylinders. Her positive attitude and honesty make her an enormous benefit to our team, keeping us all in check and seeking the best outcomes for all students in Colorado. Thank you, Diane, for all you do, and congratulations on 10 years. And we have Judith Martinez. Judith is a joy to work with and an asset to CDE. She sees challenges as opportunities and takes the time to reflect on her experience to ensure that solutions are aligned with what students, educators, schools, and districts need most. Generations of students can thank Judith for her work to reduce our state's dropout rate and increase graduation rates, all while having a keen eye on closing gaps and ensuring opportunities for all students are equitable. Thank you, Judith, for your dedication to CDE and Colorado students. We look forward to working with you for 10 more years. And then we have Tanya Klein. It doesn't look like she's here today. She's online. Excellent. I keep forgetting about that part. So Tanya has been a familiar, friendly face at CDE for 10 years. Tanya has worked tirelessly for education in Colorado from the district level to the state level. Tanya has held several starring roles at CDE, from Chief of Staff to a now beloved Director of Education Licensing. In the educator talent team, Tanya consistently gets kudos from the field as they acknowledge her depth of knowledge, kind and compassionate customer service, and her dedication to ensuring our kids have strong educators in the classroom. We are grateful to have her leadership in educator talent. So our next group is 15. So we have Brad and Lisa. Oh, we have both of them here today. Good. Awesome. So Lisa. Just shift your shirt. So Lisa Medler, in her 15 years at CDE, Lisa has worked with so many programs and people across the department, from literacy to federal programs to IMS to accountability. With the detailed knowledge she needs to have for the unified improvement plans, she sometimes knows our programs better than we do. We are so grateful to have her expertise and wisdom with us at CDE. Okay, so although Brad would often rather be working on his cabin in Fairplay, his duties as the state Title I director and the director of ESSA programs compel him to come into the office on a daily basis. Brad's patience, focus, and positive attitude provided a solid foundation for the work of our unit. We thank him for his service and leadership and look forward to the next several years as we implement ESSA and put all of his good thinking into practice. So we have 25. Is Tanny here? Is she listening? Okay, perfect.
tell me when Tanny's coming, and I'll give her her flowers. I figured once you reach 20, you know, maybe not a car, but.
Tanny Anthony. Tanny Anthony epitomizes the service we strive to provide to the field. Recognized as an expert in blindness across Colorado and the nation, she provides deep service to the educators that serve students with vision needs. Her contributions extend well beyond vision into equity, access, and literacy. She has put together a team of notable consultants to serve the field across the spectrum of disabilities. For those of us who have had the pleasure of working with Tanny, we know the thoughtful, energetic, passionate professional that she is. Her 25 years haven't slowed her down at all. She believes wholeheartedly in what we as an agency can accomplish and represents us all as a model of what it means to be a CDE staff. So we have Jennifer Johnson. All right. Jennifer's online. All right. Very impressive. Jennifer Johnson has been with CDE for 30 years. An amazing accomplishment. This department and the educational landscape has changed greatly since Jen's first day at CDE. It's hard to articulate 30 years of service in a short paragraph. Quite honestly, Jen has served Colorado educators on many different levels, from receptionist to evaluation of licenses to customer service. Jen currently works with the educator talent team as a customer service team support. She ensures educators have a friendly voice on the phone and assists educators through email and in person. We are thankful for Jen's service throughout the many years and congratulate her on 30 amazing years of service to educators across the state.
All right. Thank you, Sue. You did an excellent job. We'll have it be, we'll refine. No, it's all good. And I just wanted to say, too, so we did one end of the spectrum. Do we have any new staff members that this is your first CDE all-staff meeting? If so, please stand up. All right. Woo! Look at that. All right, so we look forward to sharing the stage with you all in 5 years and celebrating your great accomplishments. But welcome to the CDE team. And with that, we'll get you out of here 8 minutes early. So thank you. Oh, that's okay.
I don't know how long else I had left.